If you ever thought to yourself, wow, I hate the Tilemap Editor in Unreal Engine, it's so limited, then you came to the right place. In this video I will teach you how you can add functionality of placing blueprints and animated tiles in the Tilemap Editor instead of dragging them one by one to the map and trying to place them correctly. Let's start by creating a Paper Tilemap Actor. Inside the Tilemap Actor, you will find the tilemap component. What a surprise! But we are not going to be setting it inside of the blueprint. Instead, we will go into the construction script, drag the tilemap into the graph and call setTilemap. Then we will make the new tilemap input into a variable. And we need to make sure to turn it into an instance editable, so we can set it outside of the blueprint. Now, we can drag it into the level, press on the tilemap, then go down in the details to the default section and set your variable to your chosen map. And then the map should appear in the level. Yippee! Afterwards, we should go back into the blueprints and open the event graph. You can get rid of the event tick and overlap, they are not important. Then, go to begin play and we will begin by getting our map size, by dragging the map into the graph and calling the function getMapSize. This part is very important because all of our logic is going to be based on it. Now, turn map width and map height into variables. Then, subtract 1 from each one of them. This will be important because we are going to loop over this value starting from 0. After doing so, let's create a new function. I will call it FindTaggedTiles, but you can name it however you want. I won't judge. Inside the function, we will start by calling a for loop function and connecting the map height variable into the last index. Then, inside the loop body, we will turn the index into a local variable named currentMapHeight. And after that, we will call another loop and this time connect the map width into it. And again, we will turn the index into a local variable, but this time name it currentMapWidth. So basically, we scan the horizontal row tile by tile, then move one row down and do it again until we've scanned the entire map. Now, let's just make sure it works. Call a printString node and a formatText node, connect it into the printString and write X. Just write whatever I write in there. I'm not going to read it. Then connect to it the current width and current height local variables. Make sure to connect it into completed in the first loop. If you will go to the level and press play, you will be able to see we are getting exactly to the last tile position on the tile map. Now, you can disconnect it from completed, we will not need it anymore. Go back up to the second loop and drag the map component into the graph and call getTile. Then, connect the current map width into X and current map height to Y. The layer you can keep at 0. This function will allow us to get information from the specific tile our height and width are currently standing on in the grid. Now, drag the return value and call getTileUserData. The user data is like a tag or a name you can give to a specific tile. Drag from the return value and set it into a local variable named currentTileName. Then, drag from the return value again and check if it's not equal to nothing. After that, connect the boolean to a branch. If the tile has a user data, we will get true. To set user data on a tile, open your chosen tile set, press on a specific tile, and go down to Single Tile Editor. Then, in the user data name, give a name that will fit your tile. After doing that, open your tile map, not the blueprint, and add a new layer called Placeable Objects. You have to make sure it's in the top of the list, because this will be where we place our special tiles. Then, you can press on this layer, choose your named tile, and place it somewhere on the map, as many times as you want. Go back to the blueprint and call a print string node and connect it to the true case of the branch. Drag the correct tile name variable into the input, and now, if you did everything correctly, you will see the name of all the tiles you placed will appear on the screen when pressing play. Then, after making sure it works, you can delete the print string. From now on, stuff will start getting more interesting. Drag your map component into the graph and call setTile. Then, connect the width to X and height to Y. The layer should stay at 0. Now, drag the new value pin and call makeTile. Right now, we are going to replace the name tiles by invisible tiles, so choose a tile set you have some free space on and set it inside tileset. Then, go into this tile set and look for the index of an empty tile. Then, write the index in tile index. This will swap all our name tiles into empty tiles. But, currently, if you will try it, nothing will happen. That is because our map is not editable at the moment. Let's go back into the event graph, and at the start of begin play, drag the map component into the graph, and call make tilemap editable. Now, if you will try to test it, all the named tiles should disappear from the map when you press play. Our next goal is to make the blueprint version of the tiles appear instead of the normal tiles we got rid of. We will need some way to tell the map actor what blueprints we want it to access and which tiles they are going to replace. So, we will create a data asset that will contain all this information. First of all, we will need to create a primary data asset to base the data asset on. Create one and name it PDA Placeable Actors. Inside of it, the only thing we care about are the variable section. Now, we want to bundle the information we need into a struct to make it easier for us to set. So, create a new struct named s_placeable actors and create two variables inside of it. Actor class of type actors, soft class reference, and actor name of type name. Then go back into PDA Placeable Actors and add new variable of type sPlaceable Actors, object reference, and make it into an array. Then compile and save. Now we are done with the primary data asset, so it's time for us to create the actual data asset. Name it DA Placeable Actors. Inside of it, we will add an array element. Then, in the actor class, set the blueprint you want to replace the tile with. And in the actor name, you should write the exact name you gave to the tile you want to replace. So go back into the tile set and copy the user data from the tile. After finishing setting up the data asset, we will go back into our map actor blueprint and create a new variable named Placeable Actors of type PDA Placeable Actors. Object reference. Make sure to compile and afterwards set the default value as DA Placeable Actors. Now we can create a new function called findPlaceableActors with an input called tilename from type name and output called PlaceableActors of type actors soft class reference. Inside the function, we want to disconnect the return node. After that, drag to the graph the placeable actors variable and get the placeable actors array out of it. Then drag the output and call for each loop node so we can look inside the array. Take the array element output and break it. Then, from the actor name output, drag and search for equal. Connect the lower pin into tile name. This will allow us to find the right blueprint to replace our tile with. Now, from the boolean, create a branch and connect the return node into the true case. Then, drag the actor class output and connect it to placeable actor, to pass the actor we found outside of the function. If you use the return node, the function is finished and the loop stops. But what if we looped over all the data assets and didn't find a matching name? Then, when the loop is completed, we will call the return node again, but this time pass nothing. Now, go back into find tag tiles, to where we set the tiles into the empty tiles, and call the new function right after it. Drag the variable current tile name onto the input tile name, and from the output of the function, we get the actor we want to spawn. But because we used a soft reference, we can't simply call spawn actor, because a soft reference does not give us an actual reference to the actor. Instead, it contains a string which specifies the path to the actor. So we will need to load it into memory using this path. The reason we did it instead of a normal reference is because we might have a lot of tile types inside of our data asset, and not all of them will be in use in every level. So it could have taken a lot of memory even when we are not using any of them. When using a soft reference, we can load into memory only what we need. So it's a much better option for us and a lot more optimized. And it's pretty easy to get it working. All we need to do is drag the placeable actor output and search for load class asset blocking. This will load the class into memory and return an object class reference. And to be able to spawn it, we need to cast it into an actor using cast to actor class. In this situation, it's completely okay to cast, and we don't need to worry about memory. Now we go to the final step of the tutorial. Grab the as actor output and call spawn actor, then split the transform. After doing so, drag the map component into the graph and call getTileCenterPosition. Connect the current width into X and current height into Y. Layer should stay as 0, and world space should be checked as true. Then, take the return value and connect it to spawn transform location. And before trying it, let's handle the edge case of not finding an actor by the name of the tile. Go to the cast fail execution pin and add a print string. Then write can't find placeable actor by tile name. Now we can finally go back to our tile map and place as many of the replaceable tiles we want wherever we want. And when we press play, we will see that all of them have been replaced by the matching blueprints in the correct positions. We did it! Good job! If you want to create new replaceable tiles, all you need to do now is add the user data in the tile set and add the information about this tile in the data asset. No need to touch the Tilemap Actor blueprint anymore. Yes, it's that easy. Thanks to our scalable system, we can add new tiles in seconds with no problems at all. Stop everything. It's Tile from the future. Remember when I said couple of seconds ago, we did it? Then I was wrong. I was thinking to myself that it's okay to loop only on one layer that will be made only for replaceable tiles. But it has proven to be problematic if we want to put animated tiles in the background, like you can see here. So let's add one more easy improvement to the system. Open the Tilemap Actor blueprint and go to the event graph. Then, in Get Map Size, grab the num layers and turn it into a variable. Make sure to subtract it by 1, like the other variables. After doing so, get into Find Tag Tiles, and at the very start create another for loop, with num layers as the last index. Inside the for loop, take the index and turn it into a local variable. Make sure to connect the execution pin back to the next loop. Now, the last thing we should do is connect the current layer to get tile, set tile, and get tile center position. Thanks to this update to our logic, we are going to start looping from the first layer and scan all of it for replaceable tiles. And then go to the next layer until we scan them all. So now, we can place the actors on every layer and it will work perfectly. Oh, and one more thing. Until now I only showed you examples with placeable blueprints, but what if you want to create placeable animated tiles? Then, you should treat it as a blueprint. Create a simple actor and add a flipbook component as the root, and set any flipbook you want inside of it. And after doing so, you will be able to choose it in the data asset like the other placeable actors. And that's it! You got to the end of the tutorial! My first tutorial, in fact. I really hope I managed to help you, and maybe learn a new thing you didn't know before. I have made this channel because I have a big passion to game development and teaching, and I believe that after learning for 2 years from those who came before me, it's time for me to start leaving a trail to those who will come after. Please, let me know what did you think of this tutorial, if I can improve anything to make stuff more clear next time, and of course, feel free to tell me if you have any problems and I will do the very best I can to help. So, thank you for watching. I'm sorry for my bad English, and I hope I will see you again.